Today we're going to look at stakeholders. Stakeholders is an aspect of course which many students struggle with, especially with the application stakeholders into the written exams. Because higher level have to do 220 mark questions, we have to write a lot about stakeholders, and the standard level in your section C of paper 2. You also have a 20 mark question which requires you to make clear reference to stakeholders. But quite often students don't do that particularly well. So we're going to look at stakeholders today and see how it links into the final exams. So stakeholders are any person, any group who is affected by a business's activities. And there's two basic types. There's the internal stakeholders and the external stakeholders. Now, I'm going to use McDonald's because paper 2, both higher and standard level students have to write about a real business. And we focus at this school partly on McDonald's. Alright? So on the left hand side, we have the internal stakeholders. So the workers, shareholders, the CEO, and franchisees. Alright? And the external stakeholders would be the people who supply McDonald's, the customers, the government, and the competition. And each of those will have very different types of interest in the business. Obviously, something like the competition, they might be looking at McDonald's because McDonald's is the market leader in selling burgers worldwide. So they may be looking at, for example, McDonald's innovations and seeing maybe they could borrow some of those ideas. Obviously, the CEO is very concerned about maybe trying to move into new markets, trying to hit sales targets, maybe trying to change the image of McDonald's. Workers obviously may be thinking about things like paying conditions. Many people in the fast food industry in America have wanted an increase in the minimum wage and wanted McDonald's to maybe be paying, say, $15 an hour. And obviously they're interested in job security. Alright? Now, then we have to look at balancing the need of stakeholders is very, very difficult. Alright? So for example, if McDonald's introduces create your taste, self-ordering or kiosk where you go and order your own burger. Alright, so let's say you order a Big Mac but you don't like gherkins. Alright, so you go to the kiosk and you order the Big Mac but you make sure the gherkins is taken out. Now, that costs $125,000 for each franchisee to buy. Okay, now, who might be happy about this? Obviously the customers, you can customize your burger. Alright, who might be unhappy? Well, the franchisees have to pay $125,000 for this. If someone has 10 McDonald's franchises, that's $1.25 million. That's a lot of money. If sales targets aren't reached, well, it's a franchisee who is financially responsible. Workers may feel under pressure because no longer are you just making a standard burger, a Big Mac, quarter pound, you're having to personalize things. And what might happen is the service time slows down, and then the franchisee starts putting pressure on the workers, and maybe the workers start getting angry and demotivated. Okay? Now, then, the reason why this is very, very important is on paper 2, as we mentioned, both higher and standard level students do a 20 mark question, which is 5 criteria. The criteria E has to do with stakeholders, and many students don't do this part of the exam well. So you have to write about individual and group perspectives to be able to get into the mark band, which is verse 4. Alright? So the individual, for example, that would be like the CEO, and the group perspective would be like customers or workers. Alright? Or franchisees. Sometimes students get a little bit confused because if you're going to write about a franchisee as an individual, then sometimes later in your answer they start writing your franchisees. Alright? In the plural form. So that can be difficult for students. So I tend to say to my students, choose CEO, alright, as the individual, because you're not going to make the mistake of turning it into the plural form. Whereas writing about a worker and workers, it's easy for students to get a little bit confused. So I tend to say CEO for the individual, and for the group perspectives, customers, workers is the easiest to do. Okay, but what students need to do is they need to be able to show balance. They need to be able to put forward real examples rather than sort of saying, if this happened, if that happened, it would be good or it would be bad for the the stakeholder. What you need to do is use real examples. So all I've done is write an answer, part of an answer, based on an exam question from 2016 with reference to an organisation of your choice. Discuss the impact of innovation on operations management strategy. Alright? So obviously in this type of question you probably spend 700, 800 words. I don't have the space to do that. Alright? Nevertheless, I've tried to show how you can write about the stakeholders. So Steve Easterbrook, he's the CEO of McDonald's, and I've highlighted CEO, that's the individual, has responded brilliantly to changes in customer needs, so that's positive. The create your taste kiosk is a great innovation, so what I've done there is I've used the word from the question, so that hopefully that will impress the examiner, which allow customers to customize burger. This should increase sales and allow Steve to introduce other innovations, but franchisees, group, have to pay $125,000 for each kiosk and could be unhappy with Steve if sales increase. So there I said that was the negative point, how if sales don't increase, franchisees unhappy with Steve, it may make it more difficult for him to introduce other innovations. Okay? And the other problem which Steve Easterbrook may have is that increasingly McDonald's is allowing franchisees to own ever more franchises. Burger King, for example, allows franchisees to control, say, 100 restaurants. McDonald's so far hasn't gone quite to the same scale as Burger King, but it is nevertheless allowing franchisees to control more and more and more restaurants. And obviously, that means that each individual franchisee will become more powerful and may be resistant to change in future. Okay? Now, and finally, for those of you who are higher level, your paper 1 section C, you have a 20-mark question which uses the same criteria as for the paper 2 section C. So the marking criteria is exactly the same. So you still have to write about stakeholders. Alright? And this is taken from the examiner's report of 2016. It says many answers did not develop a suitable report style. That kind of means having an introduction, main body, conclusion. Alright, making clear use of the case study materials, clear use of business terminology, but few answers address the roles of groups and individuals. So you still need to write about an individual. In the case study, it's easiest to write about the probably the CEO. Alright, and it's probably easiest maybe to write about the key manager who's mentioned in the case study. And generally speaking, they make lots of references in the case study to society or to workers or maybe to competition, right, or trade unions. So it shouldn't be that difficult for you to embed the group perspective either. Okay, but nevertheless, this would be a concern that across both papers for higher level, there are 8 marks available. That's roughly 4% of your overall final grade. And many students aren't addressing the stakeholders issue properly. Okay, so hopefully that's helped improve your knowledge of stakeholders, and we'll see you next time.